Hello, I'm Mary V. Today, let's talk about how to play slow movements. Sometimes playing a slow movement um, with all the expression and the bowing and everything can be more difficult. And there are techniques to playing very quietly, very slowly, that I hope can help you. So let's take the second movement of the Spring Sonata. And after all, the end of the movement, we have something like this. Then we have the piano with a completely different mood, a beautiful semiquavers. And then the piano has the tune. And then we take over the tune. And when we take over the tune from the piano plays it, it's absolutely gorgeous, but we've got vibrato, and that completely changes the feel of the tune, but it's got to follow on from what the piano is doing. And at the beginning of the tune, now on the first D, what we're looking for is something where the note develops, but not to get louder, but it develops into a different color. And you're doing something at the end of that bow, which is the semiquavers. So there's a lot happening in the bow, and this is great because when it comes to the semiquavers at the end, slightly speed up the bow and make it more floaty, like this. Now, at the end of all these bows, I would float everything, where you can speed up the bow slightly and make it lighter. And this saves you from playing a long D with really nothing in it, just the note like this. And we don't want that. Every single note has got something in it. Every single bow has got something at the beginning and the end. And this is what saves playing very slowly, is to think about what's coming next. What's coming at the end of this bow is something that saves the note from becoming cramped. Like that. If I can get a start which is so already soft, rather than this, get the vibrato going immediately, get the sound going immediately, plan what kind of stroke you're going to do. Now I'm using a lot of floating bow, which is a slightly quicker bow, but it's very floated, like that. I'm floating the bow, and that allows my arm, it saves my arm from getting locked when I'm playing very slowly and quietly. It increases the speed, but also gives a particular kind of sound that I think is needed in this particular piece. Nothing you do should be noticeable. It should be serene, it should be sostenuto, it should be piano. But every single bow that you do has got a lot going on inside it. And this is how you can stay relaxed and expressive and don't get cramped up, which is what happens to people when they're playing very quietly. In fact, I wouldn't, although it says piano, I wouldn't go less because you'll be creeping around and you can't really make the tone that you need to make. The next phrase is very interesting. It's absolutely full of dynamics. It starts piano, and then the first phrase has a little diminuendo, and then there's a sforzando. Sforzando in this case isn't the same as when you're playing in the first movement, where there's lots of sforzandos, which are sudden in and dramatic in Beethoven, like this. So that happens all the time in Beethoven, but I think in the slow movement, the sforzando is not a sudden thing, no bites. I think it's a heaviness, a real heaviness, and an emphasis on the key. So the whole journey is to do with keys, isn't it? So I think it's more a heaviness feeling, but I think it's got to be incorporated. I think you've got to make up your own mind how you want to play it. But I'll just have a go at what I want to do. Like that. I think is more closer to what I want to do. The next bit is there we have these sforzandos again. Leading up to the sforzandos, I think it's a heaviness, an absolute weight. It's the weight of the thought, actually. The accompaniment, the piano accompaniment, comes back, only played on the violin, and it's for the violin to accompany the piano in the same way that the piano accompanied the violin is absolutely beautiful. It's got to be gorgeous. I think it should come out a bit. I mean, it's low down on the violin. Then at the end, again, it's very helpful if you think about the little flautando. So I hope that's been helpful. Bye for now.